Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried.
Blood-stained dice slid across velvet, smiles all around, but only one man left breathing. Duke the Jeweler didn't die broke, he died hunted, surrounded by wolves in designer chains. And now there's blood on Mob Ty's hands, and the feds are closing in. This wasn't a robbery, this was an execution, and not some back alley setup either. Duke walked out of Boogie's dice game with friends. The same ones dapping him up might have been flashing signals. Now those same faces are sweating under federal heat. And 50 Cent? He's airing out the whispers, reposting receipts, hinting this wasn't random. This was planned, bigger than anybody thought. And here's where it all unravels. It's straight up cinematic. 2 weeks before Takeoff was taken out in another dice game gone wrong, Duke was shutting down the table at J. Prince Jr.'s spot. Same vibe, same tension. And when the wrong man starts winning, that's when the smiles fade and the setup begins. Now the whole Mob Ty circle is under a microscope. Boosie, J. Prince Jr., Lil Cam, all of them. What started as whispers, it's turning into warrants. But how'd we even get here? Let's zoom out, because from the outside, it looked like a friendly dice game, but behind the scenes, it might have been a setup from the jump, a death sentence hiding in plain sight. Duke the Jeweler, Chicago native, self-made, built his empire from scratch, living the dream until he rolled the wrong number. Duke wasn't just icing out SoundCloud rappers, he was the jeweler's jeweler, making custom pieces for real names, big clients, and moving through the industry with power. He didn't come to Houston for clout, he came for business. And word is, Boosie personally invited him down to talk about a high-end custom. So Duke pulled up, Louis duffel in hand, $1 million worth of diamonds, his best work, ready to deal. What he didn't know was he was walking into his own funeral. Let's zoom in on that dice game. Because leaked audio, allegedly from Whack 100, is making it real clear. This wasn't no casual game. This was an operation, a setup, and J. Prince Jr.'s name already floating in the streets. They call it a loaded dice ring now, and it's always the same three faces running the ritual. Lil Cam, Big Capri, and Wolf. They rotate the dice like clockwork, passing heat between palms like it's tradition. And guess what? The house always wins, unless someone fumbles the rotation. That night, somebody fumbled. Word from Whack 100 is that Duke got his hands on the wrong dice, the loaded ones, and he started winning, fast. First hundreds, then racks, then tens of thousands, back to back, no slip-ups, just straight pressure. But when you break a rigged system, the people behind it don't celebrate, they panic. Now let's talk about the moment everything flipped. Let's talk massacre. Allegedly, J. Prince Jr. gets a 30% cut from every dice night haul. So when Duke started cleaning up, that wasn't just bad luck, that was bad business. A direct threat to the whole setup. And Duke wasn't moving low-key either. He was lit up, diamonds dancing, stacks flying, IG live rolling, loud energy, confident, flashy, a walking spotlight in a den full of shadows. But here's where it gets real strange. Pause the dice game footage and watch close. You'll see Boosie let out a soft whistle, not loud, not angry, just a signal. His nephew's head snaps toward Duke. Then a man in a red hoodie taps the nephew's arm, like a cue. And just like that, the whole room's energy shifts, cold, quiet, predatory. 1 minute, Duke's laughing and stacking wins. The next, it's like a silent countdown started. And within minutes, he was gone, dead. This ain't paranoia, it's body language. You can feel it when a room full of people already knows how the night's gonna end. The smiles stop meaning anything. The air shifts. The setup is already in motion. And if you still think this was just a bad dice night, ask yourself this. Why would Boosie bring a man carrying over $1 million in custom jewelry into a room full of wolves with no security? Why didn't Jay Prince Jr. provide protection knowing Duke was an out-of-towner with that kind of weight on him? Because maybe the protection wasn't missing. It just wasn't meant for Duke. Let's rewind to the exact moment Duke left that dice game. No security, no team, no driver, just him, walking alone through a dark Houston lot after a night surrounded by millions in cash and ice. If that sounds off, that's because it is. But within minutes, it goes from off to ominous. Gunshots, an ambush. Duke is hit and doesn't make it. Now here's the red flag. In any so-called setup or robbery gone wrong, what's the first thing snatched? Jewelry? Cash. But Duke, he was found with everything still on him. Not a single chain missing. The same $1 million jewelry he wore to Boosie's concert still untouched before his passing. The same bag Duke was carrying, packed with his most prized, unreleased jewelry designs, didn't disappear. It turned up inside Boosie's house. Let that sink in. Houston PD confirmed it. Now maybe Duke handed Boosie the bag for safekeeping during the game. Or maybe Boosie got it after. We don't know. But one thing's clear. The bag made it back. Duke didn't. And Boosie's response, a shaky IG live from a plane, claiming he barely knew Duke, saying Duke just walked off. No answers, just distance. And $1 million mystery in his living room. So how you barely knew him, but invited him to a private dice game, then let him walk to his car alone, flashing $1 million in jewelry? Something ain't adding up. And when Boosie went live to clear his name, he didn't look innocent. He looked pale, shook, like a man who knew the heat was coming. And it did. The feds, already sniffing around Boosie for unrelated legal issues, made a move. They split Duke's case into a standalone federal investigation. No delays, no burying it under old charges. Just a laser-focused probe into what really happened that night. So the feds did what they do best. They tracked the phone. Duke's last phone ping, Boosie's recording studio. Now, unless that phone grew legs and walked itself there, someone in Boosie's circle brought it, and they weren't even trying to cover it up. No wipe, no smash, just a final ping, then silence. The phone went dark, manually turned off. That's what lit a fire under the feds. Then came the forensics. They searched Duke's rental car and found prints. Not just anybody's, Boosie's nephew and Boosie's cousin. And just when it couldn't get more twisted, it did. A witness, outside the building smoking, came forward. Said they saw Duke, alone, walking toward his car. At first, everything seemed normal, but then Boosie's nephew slipped out from the shadows, like he'd been waiting, watching. Duke must have felt it. Something was off. Allegedly, he swung first, tried to defend himself. But it was too late. One fast move, and Boosie's nephew allegedly pulled the trigger. And here's the part that confirms it wasn't a robbery. They didn't even try to stage one. No struggle, no snatch and run, because this wasn't about stealing. This was about silencing. And the Louis Vuitton bag, they kept it, didn't dump it, didn't hide it, just held on to it. That's not sloppy, that's arrogance. And you know who noticed? 50 Cent. Because if you've been paying attention, there's always the same warning when artists pull up to Houston. Make sure you check in. It's not in writing, it's not official, but it's real. Artists, influencers, even athletes, they all hear the same thing. If you're moving through Houston without checking in with Jay Prince Jr. and the Mob Ties circle, you're playing with fire. But here's the part no one wants to say out loud. What happens when the very people you're checking in with are the ones setting you up? Let's be clear. Jay Prince Jr. hosted that dice game. Duke pulled up under his invite. Same with Takeoff. Same host, same setup. Now 2 men are dead. And that check-in culture, it don't look like protection anymore. It looks like a trap. Because if Jay Prince Jr. really runs the city the way he claims,
he must have walked outside to the parking lot. We was in the garage. We heard this, but it like they was far away in the parking lot. He must have went to his car or something. Dude was finna make a piece for him too.
Why is it the people checking in are the ones not making it out? Even Whack 100 couldn't stay quiet. He called it what it looked like, a scam ring. Said J. Prince Jr. invites entertainers in, plays the friend card, makes them feel safe, then walks them into dice games where his people are already in position, surrounded, outnumbered. Now the streets are buzzing, and the industry's listening. Some artists are quietly backing away, labels pulling out of Houston events. That check-in culture, it's turning radioactive. And 50 Cent, he's not letting it slide. He's been reposting clips, dropping captions that aren't subtle, calling out the game piece by piece. Some say he's playing with fire. Others say he's just the only one bold enough to say what everybody else is too scared to admit. Sources say Boosie's starting to panic. The feds aren't just stacking this onto old gun charges. They've carved Duke's case out separately and are laser focused on that night. Now they're digging into Boosie's mansions, his financials, even tracing his son's digital trail. But the real chaos might be coming from inside his own circle. Allegedly, Boosie's own girlfriend told someone he ran back inside that night, clearly hiding something. Yet Boosie keeps acting like he knew nothing, silent, cool, unbothered. But now the question's louder than ever. If Boosie falls, who's he taking with him? Because Boosie don't move alone. His nephew is in it, his cousin is in it, and his name is now tangled with J. Prince Jr., who's already catching heat. After Takeoff's death, the threads started to cross, and every one of them leads back to the same table. And now, it's getting messier. Finesse 2 times, once backed by mob ties, shouting out J. Prince Jr. in interviews, is switching up. Now, he barely says the name, won't show face. Something flipped. At first, it looked quiet. He just stopped popping up around Junior. No concerts, no green rooms, no more backstage hangs. Then came the whispers. Word is, the whole fallout started over a woman. Not just any woman, Finesse's baby mama. Allegedly, she and her mother lined him up, called the cops, got him locked back up on a probation violation, and that incident pulled a string that unraveled the whole mob ties connection. And guess who stepped in to get Finesse out? J. Prince Sr. himself. Behind the scenes, he made the calls, pulled strings. Within 2 weeks, Finesse was back on the streets. But instead of showing gratitude, Finesse ran right back to the same girl who lined him up. That's when Senior had enough. He got on Twitter and said it with his chest. And just like that, the silence cracked. What started as street politics is now turning into a full-blown unraveling. Loyalty fading, the mob ties grip slipping, and the ones who once moved like untouchable kings, now they're scrambling to cover the blood trail. Now the streets are whispering something even darker. Rumors say J. Prince Jr. might have gotten Finesse's girl pregnant behind his back. Is it confirmed? Number. But the fact that people believe it and Finesse hasn't denied it says everything. Some fans brushed it off as just more drama, but others, they started seeing a pattern. JR's got bad blood with Takeoff's family. He's beefing with Boosie behind the scenes. And now Finesse, publicly spiraling. People are asking, how many bridges can you burn before the whole empire collapses? Because here's the truth. When your reputation is built on silence, fear, and power moves, all it takes is one flip, one artist, one friend, one witness, and the whole house of cards comes crashing down. The artists are backing away, the labels are backing away, because this ain't rap beef, this is Ryko energy. And with Duke's elimination possibly caught on tape, all it takes is one person to leak it. One clip sold to TMZ, or worse, handed to the feds. If that video drops, it's game over. The streets are watching, the industry's watching, and the silence, it's getting louder. If you're still with us, drop a comment below. We want to hear your take. Smash that like button if you made it to the end. And don't forget to subscribe to Gossip for more raw stories, real receipts, and the drama they don't want you to see.